Hey guys, what's going on? It's Completely Average Gamer here. So this is a new series that we're bringing you in which we're going to try and make me from a gold player to a top 100 player. I'll be doing this along with Michiel, who's a top 100 player. He will be sharing tips and tricks with me, along with gameplay analysis, which you'll see in the background during the video, just to see if we can make those minor adjustments that take someone from being a gold player to a top 100 player. Because the gap is only 2 or 3 games to get from Gold 1 to Elite 3 and then push on from there. So realistically, there should be small and minor adjustments which help you make that jump. So hope you enjoyed the video. Massive shout out to Michiel. Make sure you go and sub to his channel below and in the comments. Let me know what you think. And I hope you really enjoyed the video. Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy.
Yeah, so from a elite, I mean from a gold player to elite and potentially top
Yeah,
100.
that's the challenge.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's something we all dream of, and that's how we all start. I mean, even though I regularly hit top 100 now, like back FIFA 18, I struggled for the elite,
Okay.
and like within a period of a few weeks, actually, I made the step from start getting elite to comfortably hitting elite and then keep going on towards the top 100, and that's where I am now.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not an impossible journey.
It seems that way. I mean, I've always been like a gold player, but back at the start of FIFA 18, I would struggle to reach gold 3. So, and now I comfortably get gold 2 every week, and this weekend my first gold 1. So there is a small improvement, but I think that's just playing rather than knowing what I'm doing. The
Yeah,
consistency.
like on average you would stay the same. Like
Yeah.
every week you would maybe get a few more and then a few less, depending on like bit of the opponents you play and
That's it, yeah.
how the servers are. That's of course something we cannot control.
Yeah, so I mean,
Um,
I think essentially the things that I struggle with the most are like formations and tactics. So there's hundreds and one YouTube videos people discussing tactics and discussing how they set up this
yeah,
way and they use this formation, but a part of me doesn't quite always believe it. I always think they must have like a few formations maybe or something to
yeah.
change it up mid game should they need to, and I'm not sure if that's something you do.
Um, well, I mean, formation for me it's always like a personal thing. You
Yeah.
know, you have a certain preferred playstyle, a playstyle that you think you are the best with,
Hmm.
and not all formations suit that playstyle. So, like, you can see the top YouTubers or the pros saying, "Oh, this formation with five at the back is really good," and then maybe you really miss your wingers that you have to give up for that
Yeah.
formation or something, and then you're forcing yourself like to play an unnatural playstyle.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say like it's best to start out with something
Hmm.
and then rather than thinking about what formation you want to play, think about what you would like to see different in your team. So like if you say let's say you play a 4-1-2 variation 2, the narrow diamond
Yes. Yeah.
version that
That's what I usually play.
it's big meta formation, and you feel you're too tight in that formation, but only on the midfield.
Yeah.
So then you shouldn't like randomly pick another formation because this one isn't working. You gotta take the knowledge you have about that your midfield is too close to each other, and you should maybe use the normal variant with the left mid and the right mid,
Okay. Yeah.
um, and narrow it down as much as possible. So like if you have the 4-on-2-on-2 narrow and you like it, but some aspects of it you don't like, then you shouldn't go switching randomly to five at the back or three at the
Yeah. Of
back or
course.
something with wingers, because that's not where your problem
Yeah,
is.
it's a drastic play style
Um,
change as well. And
yeah,
I mean, I play 4-1-2-2 narrow mostly. I went back to that this weekend for the majority, which is obviously, and I ended up with my
yeah,
best finish. Last weekend, I got 19, so I lost my last game for Gold 1. I was playing 4-2-2-2, which felt very similar, but I had that little bit of extra protection.
yeah,
But if I was chasing a goal or a down, I switched to 4-1-2-on-2. Obviously, I'm more comfortable the quick like counter attacks, the quick build up, and then obviously the quick 1-2s between strikers. That's how I've played FIFA since maybe like FIFA 12, FIFA 13.
yeah,
Back when we had position change, formation cards, and 4-1-2-1-2
yeah,
was
yeah,
like the rarest of rare. That's why I always played 4-1-2-1-2, and then when it became narrow, I felt more comfortable with that. I've tried experimenting with 4-2-3-1, but I don't feel like my players suit the play style more than myself. So obviously, I'm a big fan of the SBC UR that we got. But I put him at wide
he's really
cam,
good,
and he feels like he doesn't quite suit being at wide cam. And then if I make a change at half time or 60th minutes, I bring on a flashback Depay in his place out on right wide. He almost hugs the touchline, and I don't know if there's something in the game that it's, you know, he's a winger, so he plays like a winger as opposed to who's a centre mid, even though that's not something that's, you know, replicated on a card, or it's not something that they say. Yeah. I always feel like Depay just drifts that little bit more wide, and I can pick the ball out of him, skill down the line a little bit. I can cut inside with him. I can, you know, create more chances having natural wingers in that position. So it's a balance of like the players that I enjoy using versus the formations that work for me, because I don't know if it's to do with being an average player, but I'm pretty comfortable in any formation. Like, the formation change doesn't seem to really have a huge effect on how many games I win or lose. It's always goal two, you know, until this weekend, goal one. Like, and I've played 5 at the back in weekend leagues. I've played like 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1 wide, which I quite enjoyed actually. That was quite good for keeping the ball. But I have to try and be smart about it and try and adjust my play style to the formation that I'm playing. So I know if I've got 4-1-2-1-2 now, I need to be quick through the middle, move the ball from back to front, and sort of maximize, you know, chance creation as opposed to 4-2-3-1 narrow variant. Whereas I feel I got extra CDM, that extra protection, and I can take my time a little bit more without the ball overturning and then just getting completely smashed on the counter, which I feel happens to me a lot with a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. So you know,
I feel like it's a great thing to talk about. A thing I notice with like goal players is that they're very linear in their game style.
Yes.
So what I mean with that is they do something and they're pretty decent at it, but that's the only thing they keep doing throughout the game. And like in let's say the majority of your weekend league games, that can really work, and you can win and you can be effective with it. But at the point where like they face an opponent that has like a very different playstyle that kind of counters, you know, their preferred playstyle, they sort of, you know, get like something wrong, and they go like, wait, it's working, why not? And they try harder, you know, the same thing, and they still expect a different result. And I think that's a big difference between you know, top tier players and a little bit average, above average players. So you gotta be really dynamic in how you face on the game.
So that comes down to like, you again using multiple formations, changing your play style, why to change your play style. But I think one of the big things as a gold player that we don't recognize maybe immediately, and for me this has always been the difference in any game between your average player or your just above average player and your top players, is recognizing patterns in a gameplay. So I bet like in a top 100, you guys, I could kick off as a gold player, you'll see me play like 4 or 5 passes, how I play those passes, and straight away, you know, like this guy is going to play fast, he's not taking too many touches, he's playing one touch, you know, trying to knock the ball around really quickly. So maybe I can sit back and just wait for him to make a mistake. He's going to pull players out of position, he's got fast build up on, do you know, like noticing those little things. So maybe like it's good to, you know, if you're in my shoes, something that would be good for me would be to, if possible, if you've got the facility for it, like record a couple of games, you know, and go back and watch those losses and maybe pay attention to how your opponent countered you, so that in future you know how to defend against that. Because I know that my biggest issue isn't chance creation, which I know obviously with the game being in the background right now, you can see I can create chances. The biggest problem I had was defending in and around my box. I'm not too bad harassing, getting the ball back in midfield, but as soon as that midfield barrier is broken, as soon as someone gets past it, like Vieira or Mahullit, I feel exposed, and I tend to maybe make mistakes.
You maybe like feel a goal coming, and you instantly wanna do something about it, take away all the danger, and that's maybe something that creates danger.
Yes.
Because you need to be patient in your defense and realize that if there isn't an opportunity to do a successful tackle, then it's best to wait instead of still go for it.
Yeah, like I know I'm guilty of spamming the tackle button.
Rushing your players is probably the worst thing you can do in defense, because it will create so many gaps. Holding R1, the second man press when you actually shouldn't is also a big danger.
Yeah, I think I do that a lot.
Because like when you're 1-on-1 in defense, you always control one player, so that's probably the player you're pressuring with. And if you hold R1 as well out of habit, because like on the midfield that's probably fine, and if you try to win back the ball with your attackers, that's also really fine. But if you hold R1 alongside the pressuring with the player controlled player, what you do is you just give space to like at least one attacker, because you're bringing away a defender that's probably coming from far as well. So what you do is you either cut the passing lane with the selected player and then use the R1 to like put pressure on the dribbler, or the other way around. But not both at the same time, because like it is a high risk, high reward playstyle. So like if you hold R1 and you pressure with your own player, there is a chance you can win back the ball instantly because it's really overwhelming. But if they do like one Lacroquette or one pass to the side, then basically they played out two men, and then there are so many gaps in the defense, and especially at this point in the game. Where everyone has like 90 plus finishing on their stats, like people are very clinical now. It's a lot more unforgiving than at the start of the game.
No, I
and that's something to keep in mind as well. Like you gotta be aware of the change in teams. People, if they have like a tight gap or they have like one chance to shoot, there's pretty high chance that it will go in at this stage of the game, because the stats are just so good, and catching up to someone is got to be really hard, because everyone's basically got 99 pace, and if they start with a head start, then you can't catch up because you both got 99. Maybe if you're a bit lucky.
That's it. I mean, that is kind of like you say, it's the meta of it all, isn't it? It's people that have a certain play style that is more overpowered, and especially with the better players coming in, it now makes room for that play style to be abused a little bit more. Like you were saying about panicking Russian defenders, is something that I know I'm guilty of, because if somebody's using, say, like a 5-star skiller out wide against me, like a Neymar or a Ronaldinho or something like that, I know as soon as they hit that line, I start panicking. That's when I panic, because I think, right, here we go, he's going to Lacroquette into the box as soon as he gets to the byline between like 4 or 5 players, or he's going to El Tornado across to the back post. Luckily, I've got, Alexandro and Lala, they can win headers. But you kind of expect that meta abuse to come, and it creates panic. So I'll run out my fullback trying to stop that as quick as possible, and suddenly they'll play a sideways pass to the edge of the box, and I'm totally exposed. So it's tough.
It's really like against like the nature of people to give space and time to your opponent. But it's really not a bad thing to do when there's not yet a dangerous situation. Like I have people as well, like when I'm just patiently closing down the passing lane, blocking the shot pass, like a guy can easily, like for 1 minute in real time, just pass around the edge of my box, and like other people would instantly panic, starts play switching, R1, bring everybody out to stop them. But like if you're really confident in your own defensive abilities, and then like if you keep focusing, there's really not much danger, basically. Like
I mean, you can see in the footage, everything you've just said is exactly what's happening in this game, where you took a significant lead and I started panicking, I started rushing, whereas in the previous game, obviously not the one that's on this video, but the previous one we played, it was much tighter, and I was much more calm and controlled in what I was doing. So I think another thing as well is, maybe for people of my level, is to try not to panic when you go 1-0 down.
Especially a 1-goal lead, that's not dangerous. A 2-goal lead is very dangerous, as you all know. But like, just think about the amount of times you go up 2 goals and you blink your eyes and you're 2-2 again, and you might as well lose that game, and that really tilts you. But you should use that knowledge to think about the times you are the person that goes 2 goals down. And then, like, within 5 minutes, or at least wait out, like, the kickoff before tilting, because as much as we hate kickoff, the good thing about it is if your opponent scores like an absolutely unlucky, unfair goal, like due to a bug or
Time to
deflection,
calm yourself.
if you try hard, like if you focus for a second on the kickoff, you can easily tie it up and like it's like nothing happened. It's still frustrating, but like the game is still tied and it's anyone's game at that point.
That's it. I mean, I always say, like, I mean, I put a video out the other day of a game with Memphis Depay where, I mean, I think he's brilliant. A lot of people are torn on opinions of him. But he basically won me a weekend league game. He scored 4 goals. I brought him on. He absolutely dominated the game. And one of the main comments that I was getting on the forums and on the video and stuff was, why are you watching all the replays? Like, put this guy out of his misery. Now, I don't run off shushing and dabbing. I let the replay play itself out. I let the celebration play itself out, and it's not a negative thing. I don't see that as I'm not trying to wind my opponent up. But what I do in those 10 or 15 seconds that I get is I take a sip of water. You'll see on the camera. I'll drink a sip of water. I'll sit back. I'll compose myself. Because if I skip the replays to be a nice guy, this guy is probably going to kick off, go really aggressive straight away because he just conceded a goal. And I'm not back to focusing yet. I'm still elated from scoring a goal. I've gone 1-0 up. It's all good. And I'm liable to concede. So I don't, I think as horrible as it is to say, sometimes you have to watch that replay. Sometimes you have to wait all of half time because you just need to compose yourself. If I'm 2-0 down at half time, I don't go straight back into the game. I'll sit there and I'll take a sip of water. I'll sit back. I'll take a big deep breath. I'll sigh. And I'll try and unwind and untilt myself, and everyone has their own ways of untilting themselves from anything from it's a common poker term. I play a lot of poker, and you have to have your own ways of dealing with being on tilt, whether it's getting up and walking away after losing a game, going for a cigarette or getting a drink or whatever it is that you do to get away from the game for 5 minutes. I never go straight into a game after a loss. I used to make that mistake on FIFA 18, and I would lose like 7 or 8 games in a row after being like 10-0, and having a brilliant start. I'll be messaging, my friends or my brother, brother's really good at the game. And I'll be like, oh, Sean, I'm 10-0. Like, this is brilliant. What's going on? And then he'll text me like 3 hours later and I'm 10-10.
Yeah, it can happen quickly. The loss as well, but like that's a big point you make about the mental aspect of FIFA, and I think that's even more important in weekend league because it's 30 games, and like winning a friendly or a rivals game, one game, that's easy compared to playing 30 games at like high level, and especially like in the final games where more tired, it's more important to be focused, so that the fatigue and weekend league is really like a marathon instead of a sprint.
Yes.
And a mistake people make, and it's a really obvious one, and people always know about it as well when I say it, like, don't play when you still got like the previous game in your head as well. It's gonna be like, oh, this again, and oh, this guy scored just the same way or something, and then you're just not 100% there. And like if it's an easy opponent after a loss, your form drops, so the opponent should be easier, and you can get away with like being a little bit tilted. But if you're 10-0, and then you get 10-1, it can go downhill really quick. And another thing is, not playing after a loss is, most people know that, but playing like after 5 straight wins or something is also a mistake and a lot of top players make as well, because like especially in the first games of your weekend league, like the first 10, usually they're pretty easy because like the form is low, the matchmaking is broad, so there's a high chance you're not gonna meet like a really top tier player. And the thing is, I play like 6 games in one sitting or something, all easy rage quits, I don't have to try hard, I can get away with bad defending, bad finishing, and then like when the form ticks like above 10 or something, I meet another top 100 player who is like really focused and really good, and it takes me like a full half to realize that I cannot get away with all this bad FIFA in this game. And if you're not paying attention, and you're still defending as you were against like the bronze or silver players, you can be up like 3-0 at half time, and then it's way too late to flip the switch, because then you're 3 goals down. You can maybe score 1 or 2, but then it's over. It's way better to start fully focused also in that game when it's 0-0.
I think it's really important to start games fully focused. You don't want to have to be on the comeback all the time, and there's so many
Yeah.
times I'm 2-0 down before I realised it, because I've gone into the game, messing around with my phone, or doing something
Yeah.
stupid, and it's kind of like I'm not paying full attention, because you say, I mean, it happens even as a gold player. Like, my first 4 or 5 games can be an absolute breeze. My first 8 games can be an absolute breeze. Maybe I'll lose one of them to a really good player, but I'm
Yeah.
not playing at my best potential because I've had easy games, and then suddenly I'll come up against a guy who might be a similar level to me, just more focused, and he will get the win, and then that's probably the difference. Like you say, I mean, 21 wins this weekend, 2 more wins, I'm in elite. I
Yeah.
lost 3 games
I
on
mean,
penalties this
at the end
weekend.
of the day, it's only such a small amount of wins that is the difference between elite and gold, especially gold 1, elite 3. That's only like 3 wins. And even these small things, can make a huge difference in the end, because like it's still a win you can add to your tally. And if you keep improving by 1 win, every week, then it's only like 3 weeks before you get to the next year.
Yeah, I mean, so the idea is that the things we're discussing should potentially improve, my and anyone who's watching who's a similar level of me. It should improve our win percentage. So obviously the idea of
Yeah.
doing these videos is to see if we can discuss the mistakes that the average player me make to,
Yeah.
you say, bump me from gold to elite, and maybe elite 2, elite 1. You never know. Let's see how we go into FIFA 20, which is why I don't really want to discuss the meta much, in terms of you telling me to do
Yeah.
things like spam out croquet. I mean, I played a game earlier and it was 2-2. I was 2-0 up. I took a short corner to Eusebio. I'd done maybe like 7 or 8 croquettes into the box and put it in the top corner in the 93rd minute. Like, you can
Yeah.
do it, but it's not the sort of thing that I want to discuss on the video, because we're
Yeah,
not going to be
especially with
next year.
like looking forward to FIFA
Yeah.
20, what they announced about chaining skill moves. That seems like something that you have no use of like being really skilled at right now, because it's only gonna disappoint next
It
FIFA.
might be something that I try occasionally, in a tight game, but yeah, it's not something I
Yeah.
think that we should discuss in terms. I mean, I think we really need to focus on overall gameplay. So what I think
Yeah.
I'll do now is I'll record some games this weekend, and we'll, instead of the footage of us playing in the background, what we'll do is maybe play a couple of videos of me playing, to analyze, maybe where I'm going wrong, and see if my win percentage improves. I kind of want to take last weekend as a freak result, so to speak. It's my highest ever amount of wins. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
bad place to start. But
I mean, we'll
always get
see how you do
17,
this
so
weekend. Like if you drop, then we know it was like a high point.
it was. I mean, I know
It will
it's-
average out anyway.
I
Yeah.
normally get to 17 with 2 games left. That's my standard. And if I
Okay,
win those
yeah.
2, I can normally win those 2, finish on 19. That frustrates me, so I tend to go into those last 2 games and just mess around, practice skill moves. Not necessarily give my opponent a free win, but I don't,
Yeah, but the pressure is off
sweat the
anyway,
pressure
yeah.
off. I mess around, and yeah, that tends to be how it works. So let's see if we can go above 17 again. Let's push that gold 1 again, using obviously the tips we discussed in this video, and yeah, we'll meet up again next week, and we'll see if it's improved, and discuss potentially why it hasn't, or maybe
Yeah.
what we're doing wrong. I think that's probably going to be the best way to go forward.
Interested to see how long it will take me to turn you into a top 100
Yeah,
player.
hopefully not just me, but like I say, not everyone into a top 100 player, not possible, but it would be good.
Yeah, there's only room for 100 people, guys.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're just
stay in line.
yeah, we're discussing things I kind of already know, but maybe need to implement better. But there's silver players out there. There's people that are below average. People that finish
Yeah.
9 or 10 wins and find the game hugely frustrating, and you see them moaning in the forums and on Reddit and places like that. And I think this will be really helpful for them as well, because
Yeah.
while it's things that we're touching upon stuff I know, and obviously this is the first video of hopefully many we're going to do. This is things that people maybe don't know and maybe don't get to see happen. So hopefully, by seeing my gameplay and seeing me try to implement and improve these things, rather than seeing people already doing it, that will help them realize, maybe where they can improve their gameplay as a whole as well. So, and where and when to change play styles, things like that. Obviously, we'll go a lot more in depth with episodes on those things. I think would probably be best, so we can have like a whole discussion about when to change your play style. But this obviously just a broad generalization, just to have a starting point for the whole
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like the good thing for all the people like below goal as well. Like it's probably very easy for you to improve your weekend league finishing without changing anything like related to your actual FIFA skill.
Yeah.
Like the difference between a silver and a gold player, like skill level, is probably not that big as you would think. It's
Yeah.
mostly about keep playing when you're tilted, or make like a bit of dumb mistakes, like throwing the ball out with your goalkeeper to the opponent's feet, or just like
Something I did
forgetting
a
squad
lot.
fitness.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it all adds up in 30 games, you know. It's only a
It
small
does.
mistake, but if you do it like once too many, it can cost you like the next rank.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of silver players make the mistake, or silver and low gold players make that mistake of going into games on tilt, or maybe not focusing enough, not keeping themselves
Yeah.
hydrated. I think I can't put enough emphasis on keeping yourself hydrated where you play games.
Yeah.
I just think it's so important, and I think stop watching videos of people telling you what formations to play and what custom tactics to play.
Yeah.
Because you go into
I mean, custom tactics, like the name of it should be a big giveaway that you cannot copy it from someone else and expect the same result. Like, it's custom for a reason. So like, if you're gonna watch a video, only do it for someone who is like your twin brother, and you have the exact same team, the exact same playstyle.
No, I totally agree.
Or like watch a video about custom tactics more in a way like, what did they mean? If I want more width in my defense, what should I change? Or what is the difference between all the game styles? You know, that can be a big help, but you should always start somewhere, and then after 5, after 10 games, like not after one game. That's see people as well. Oh, I tried out this new formation for one game and I lost, so it sucks. It must suck. You know, just after 5-10 games, or like maybe every weekend league, just think about, write something down. Like, what did I notice? Was it too wide? Was it too slow in the build up? Change a few things around. Look at the difference, and like after a month, you should have found your preferred playstyle.
Yeah.
And that can change as well. Your team, like I see a lot of people, like they seem like stuck in their plan that once worked. You know, they have like a Ronaldo, maybe a gold Ronaldo up top, and they like crossing it in, scoring the headers, and then they switch to like a different player, maybe a Mbappe, who's better on paper, and it's logical they upgraded from maybe gold Ronaldo to team of the season Mbappe. But you can't keep crossing into a guy who's way shorter, who's against like a Ramos Varane. You gotta be like dynamic in the way you approach games.
So think about your strengths and build your team around those strengths. Don't just go and buy the most expensive players and think that equals a win. Which has happened to me only last week with Ronaldinho. I'm not a skiller, but I've bought Ronaldinho because I loved Ronaldinho in real life. So I've done his SBC, and I've been saying to you and everyone in the Discord, I'm just not getting on with him. And I kind of want to change him out, but I kind of don't because I spent all my coins on him. So really,
that's the thing. You're like,
think about your team and how
you feel guilty if you don't use an expensive player, but it actually handicaps you, like, in a way.
It's like that Memphis Depay. Every time I sub him on up top, or when I started with him and moved him to striker, he really fits my play style of quick build up, quick 1-2s, getting in behind people's defenses. 30 yards from goal, because he's so quick. Like his 0 to 100 acceleration is ridiculous. And if I got it, if I managed to play a quick 1-2 with him and get him in behind, his finishing, obviously, say everyone's got high 90s, his finishing's 99, so he just scores. And the only downside to that card is his 3-star weak foot, but to be honest, his finishing and composure is so good that you sometimes you don't really notice it. Only when you're playing someone that's really good at moving the goalkeeper around or whatever do you notice. So really think about your play style and what players suit your play style. If you like patient build up pick players that are really good on the ball, that are really good at passing the ball. If you like quick build up and you want to get in behind, consider maybe an arrow formation, getting in behind. Those are the sorts of things that I think will help silver players and gold exactly, where I am now. In the grand scheme of things, can then follow these tips that you're giving me onto the next level and see how they get on. So they really, don't panic is the message, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Yeah. We'll...
It's a game at the end of the day, and it's actually about having fun while we all try harding it for the big packs and stuff.
Yeah, and
at the end of the day, you should ask yourself, like, am I still having fun? That's the most important thing.
I think when you relax, you have more fun. Like, I know when I'm not tilted, I'm enjoying the game. Even when I lose games, if they're tight, I enjoy it. Nobody enjoys getting croquet spammed or whatever you want to call it for the whole game. But the general gist of it is enjoyable if you can just relax and take your time with it. So anyway, I think we should probably hold it there.
Yeah,
and
it's good for the first one, and
then
I'm really looking
we'll
forward
see
to
where we get
diving
next.
in deeper in the next few weeks
Yeah.
to see if we can
Make the
can improve your
difference.
your
So hopefully
gameplay.
these
Yeah.
little tips will improve me, and then let's see where we can get from here.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that, and we'll move forward from here.
All right.
Thanks very much, man.
See you next time.
Cheers.